Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and a lot of people have asked me, Mitch, does it make sense for the Raiders to try to trade for a Green Bay Packers star quarterback, I almost said wide receiver, quarterback Aaron Rodgers? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about, a trade. I've actually been told that it's not impossible. The Raiders, are they actually the favorites to make a trade for Rodgers? And then, because we're going to talk about it, I got to give you two different trade projections on Rodgers. And at the very, very end, I'm going to ask you, does it make more sense to trade for Rodgers or just sign Tom Brady in free agency? Now, a lot of people are going to click on this video and say, Mitch, Rodgers is never going to get traded to the Raiders, which I would respond and say, the NFL has taught me that anything is possible. Think about last year. No way the Raiders are going to trade for Davante Adams. 7 hours of nonstop insane content. Anything can happen. It's also taught me, and I say this all the time on the show, where there is smoke, there is usually fire. And the amount of big-time NFL insiders talking about the possibility of a trade involving Aaron Rodgers, if it hasn't caught your attention yet, it's time to climb out from that rock that you're living under and realize that, yes, there is a realistic chance that Aaron Rodgers is traded. I'm not saying realistic to the Raiders. There is a chance that he is traded. So here's my question. Would you want the Raiders to trade for Aaron Rodgers? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Now, we are going to break down a little bit later on here some of his contract details because they are rather confusing, and when you see Spotrac over the cap, how much they put into his contract, it's crazy, man. It really, truly is. So would you want the Raiders to trade for Aaron Rodgers? T for trade, P for pass. I'm going to tell you at the end of today's show. So in terms of Rodgers being done in Green Bay, he did go on the Pat McAfee show last week, and he said that he's not going to be part of a rebuild. He did, however, go on Pat McAfee show this week and say that he would actually be willing to take a contract-friendly deal for this season, or he said the amount of money that you see for his cap isn't going to be what he plays for. We'll see what happens with Rodgers. I think, long story short, you never know what the heck this guy's going to end up doing. I saw the latest odds. They were released, and Rodgers' 2023 team odds were this. The Packers are still the favorite at minus 125, but the Raiders are number 2 at plus 550. Then it's the Jets, then it's the Niners, then it's the New England Patriots. These were the odds as of Tuesday morning, according to Vegas. But then a new report came out from Adam Schefter. Dov had the tweet on it. Update, the Packers will not be trading Aaron Rodgers within the NFC conference. So you can basically take away the San Francisco 49ers. They will explore the idea of trading the quarterback exclusively to the AFC. That is per Adam Schefter. Well, if he is traded, I know this, to the Raiders, we're going to go live. And Jeremy asked me before today's show, he's like, Mitch, if Rodgers gets traded to the Raiders, are you going to do 24 straight hours like Brady? No. I'm going to do 12 hours. So if the Raiders trade for Aaron Rodgers, 12 straight hours of live coverage here. It's going to be wild. I can guarantee you that. Hit the notification bell. Turn on your subscriptions or whatever you got to do. Bottom line, you don't want to miss it. So let's talk about Rodgers and the trade to the Raiders, right? Maybe it's going to happen. Maybe it isn't. Sports Illustrated released an article, all the top Rodgers landing spots, and they had the Raiders ranked at number 2 on their list. Adams, Davante, his old teammate and good friend, remember this offseason clearly said that he wants to have input on who the next quarterback is going to be for the Raiders. Rodgers made it clear at the end of the season that he missed Davante, and we know Davante Adams is great friends with Derek Carr, but you'd be stupid not to say that Aaron Rodgers is an upgrade over Derek Carr. This is what Davante had to say on basically selecting the Raiders' next quarterback. Me, Josh, Ziggs, we've all got a really good dynamic, and it's something that I really appreciate. And I've mentioned to them as well, they don't have to do anything. I'm not a part of the front office, but they know the reason why I came here. And a step like this is something that means a lot to me in my personal career, and what I'm trying to chase as far as the ultimate pursuit is to get that ring. So you know you already gave up first and a second. You gave Davante Adams 5 years, $140 million. If he wants input on who's going to be the next quarterback, you should give it to him. I'm going to spoil this right now for you. If they asked him, hey, Davante, would you care if Aaron Rodgers was your quarterback on the team? He'd be like, no, bring him on in. And also, if you asked Aaron Rodgers, well, actually, how about this? I'm going to show you a quote from Aaron Rodgers on missing Davante this season. I feel like obviously losing Davante was a big deal. We didn't fill that void. Nobody can. He's superhuman. He's phenomenal. There was hope in certain things that were going to fill that void. Ultimately, that just didn't happen. The things we were able to do, I think, may have been taken for granted at times because we were able to create so many different things in the moment over the years, and especially the last couple of years, because not much changed other than his absence from the lineup. So there you go. Aaron Rodgers telling you that he misses Davante Adams. And he absolutely probably does. Why? Because Adams, like he said, is superhuman. Unfortunately for me, I'm not superhuman. And I have been trying to take a lot better health or care of myself because, well, we get kind of wild here on the Raiders Report. And today's show is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted immune system support. And one of the supplements that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. My grandma always said the early bird gets the worm. AG1 inspires and motivates me to get as many worms as possible every day. AG1 really helps me with getting my day started, getting out of bed, especially after some of our watch parties. Yeah, it can be difficult. I'm a person who likes and needs a routine. AG1 helps me stick to my healthy routine, wake up early, take my AG1, take Chuck for a walk, and then hit the gym before work. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix one small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing each morning. Done. Simple. Easy. I also like that it costs less than $3 a day. Pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality source ingredients. Win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need for your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. Link's going to be in the comments and in the description of today's video. It's funny, that picture that you actually see on screen right now was just the other day. When I get up, Chuck always sits there and waits for me. I drink the drink now, and he literally just sits there and waits for me. He's like, bro, you good? Are we ready to get this day going? Shout out to Athletic Greens for helping me get out of bed early because Chuck sometimes, even though he's cute, he likes to snuggle, and it can be difficult. Let's keep on talking here about Aaron Rodgers and a trade. Remember earlier in the show when I said when there's smoke, there's fire. Here's the smoke. Adam Schefter, Rodgers and Packers know a trade is a very real scenario this offseason. Pat McAfee, who knows Aaron Rodgers probably better than anyone, trade is possible, but very costly. Ian Rappaport, the way his contract is structured, a trade is possible. Those are three people who I would say are very well connected with NFL sources and very well connected with Rodgers. I'm not sitting up here saying that a trade to the Raiders is going to happen, but a trade this offseason involving Rodgers, it's a real possibility. Rappaport had this to say on a Rodgers trade. Because of the way his contract is structured, a trade is possible. You could do it financially. You could come up with compensation. I think Green Bay likes what they have in Jordan Love. And, I mean, they should, right? I mean, they traded up to number 26 for him just 2 years ago. So if they got the right package, giggity, I think they could do a deal. It would be $60 million for one season. Somebody would pay him. That is what he's on the books for, cash, next year. Now, when you see $60 million, your eyes are going to light up, and I know mine did. So what I'm going to try to do here is break down his contract as easy as humanly possible, and personally, I think the easiest way to do it is from Over the Cap. They have it broken down. If you can go check it out on their website, it's the best way to do it. Here's the paragraph that matters, though, okay? If Rodgers is traded, this is what the new team takes on. For the team acquiring Rodgers, they would be on the hook for the salary for the year. The cap charge would be $59.5 million if they do not exercise his option, and $15.79 million if they were to exercise the option. Rodgers has an injury guarantee of $49.25 million for 2024, but that does not become fully guaranteed until 5 days after the 2023 Super Bowl. If Rodgers was cut after the 2023 season, it would cost the team $43.725 million on the 2024 cap. If he retired, they could split that at $14.575 million in 2024 and $29.15 million in 2025, using a similar June 2nd date, as mentioned above, in the retirement option. So to me, when I see all of that, that's a lot of financial risk for Aaron Rodgers at his age. Is Rodgers able to play at a high level? Yeah, he won 2 MVPs back-to-back just, a season ago, right? 2021 and in 2020. But the problem with all that money is, and even if, you exercise the option and he is technically on a cheaper deal in this upcoming season, you're then still paying, though, Rodgers in 2024, 2025. It's a lot of money. And if Rodgers was a quarterback that I could look at all of you right now and say, I trust that he's not going to retire. I trust that he would be the Raiders starting quarterback for the next 3 years, because if you make a deal for Rodgers with how much you'd have to give up in draft capital, that's what you're sitting here doing. You're saying, I trust Aaron Rodgers can be the Raiders quarterback for the next 3 years. Unfortunately, I can't do that. So when you combine that, you combine all the draft picks that the Raiders have to give up, and then you have to think about how much money the Raiders are going to have to pay him. I would be irresponsible to say that trading for Aaron Rodgers is the good thing. And yeah, you might win 1 year. And sure, if Rodgers does play 3 years, I'll probably regret these words because he can still play at a high level. But I also know that if you pay a quarterback essentially $50.3 million over the next 3 years, because that's essentially what the average is, you can't build your defense the way you would have originally be able to. You can't build for the future. I just don't understand how trading for Aaron Rodgers realistically helps out the Raiders. So this is what we're going to do, right? The trades you're about to see are what I think it would cost. I'm not saying that I like the trades that you're going to see, but I'm going to give you 2 options because it would be negligent of me to not talk about all this Aaron Rodgers trade talk and not tell you 2 realistic trades of what I was told by one very good NFL source of probably how much it would cost to get Rodgers on the Raiders. Now, the Packers aren't dumb. They know that Rodgers' contract, yes, it can be traded. It's still not very team-friendly. This is what I believe would be option number 1. The Raiders get Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers are saying, you know what? We're going to go with more of a youth movement. And if you give us your first-round picks the next 2 years and your second-round picks the next 2 years, Aaron Rodgers might be able to work out for you. I was told by a source if they go youth movement, they're not going to want Derek Carr. They're going to roll with Jordan Love on a cheap deal, and they're just going to want all of the picks over the next 2 years because Jordan Love is cheap for the next 2 years. The next deal is this, and this is the one that people are going to look at and be like, really? Rodgers to the Raiders, the Green Bay Packers, they get Derek Carr and Darren Waller. Remember, Green Bay showed interest in Darren Waller. Derek Carr, to me, does have some value, but how much is he actually worth? That still remains to be seen. And then a first-round pick and then a second-round pick would go to the Green Bay Packers. In terms of the deals, if I'm being real with you, this is actually a better deal for the Raiders because I don't think that many NFL teams, Packers included, believe that Derek Carr is worth a first-round pick. And I also don't really think that many NFL teams, I know the Green Bay Packers already gave up a second-round pick for Waller, but that's essentially what this is. This deal to me is actually the better deal for the Raiders if you did end up making a deal for Rodgers. So here's my ultimate take on that, right? Why the hell would you give up all the draft capital when you could sign Tom Brady? If I'm comparing Tom Brady to Aaron Rodgers, who's the better quarterback right now? I'll still probably say it's Rodgers. I will. I think he is a better overall quarterback. But then you can just sign Brady. Brady's going to be a lot cheaper. You don't have to give up all that draft capital. Plus, on top of that, Brady knows how to execute the Josh McDaniels offense, and we saw with Carr, it's not the easiest thing to execute in your first year. So in terms of Rodgers going to the Raiders, it's not impossible. I just think it's unlikely, which is why I'm giving it only one just win, baby head. I don't think that Rodgers is plan A. Hell, I don't even think he's plan B. I do know that anything is possible for the Raiders. I know anything is possible in the National Football League. If Davante really wants him, then yeah, this might get a little bit more interesting if you ask me. And in terms of my Rodgers trade destinations, the Raiders are still up there. I do think the New York Jets are the more desperate team that could end up trying to make a deal for this, where the Raiders are sitting here at number 2. But you know what, though? When you really look at the numbers between Brady and you look at the numbers between Rodgers and you diagnose them from 2022, you look at those numbers from over the last 3 seasons, you might still sit here and say that it's Brady. So I really think that the only way that the Raiders end up trading for Rodgers is if Brady goes somewhere else or retires. This isn't me. This is me saying that I know the Raiders like Jimmy Garoppolo. If Jimmy Garoppolo goes somewhere else, so you struck out on plan A, which is Brady. You struck out on plan B, which is Jimmy Garoppolo, and now you don't have anybody to go with. maybe then you get desperate because you know that your jobs are on the line, and then that's when a trade for Aaron Rodgers happens. So I believe that Rodgers' real retire drama, it's never going to go away. And because of that, it's never going to allow you to plan for the future. So why not just go with a quarterback like Brady, who knows the system? It's going to be cheaper. You don't have to give up draft capital. And because you have the cheaper money in Brady, and you don't have to give up the draft capital, that helps you build this year, and it also helps you, more importantly, build for the future, which is what Raider fans want. I want to win, but I don't think trading for Aaron Rodgers is the smart thing for the Raiders to do this year and in the future.